You're a Hall of Famer, bro. You supposed to be going through this in your rookie year. You don't have no sympathy for me. You a sucker, nigga. You deserve everything you going through.
Welcome to another episode of Concrete Reality TV, where we strive to know more and do more with what we know. If you would like to do more with what you know, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. I am Ephraim Acapella.
It's your boy Cutter.
And I'm OT2. Play my mother theme music, goddammit.
Concrete Reality.
Yo, so we just got a grab bag of topics tonight. So what y'all think about the Shannon Sharpe shit?
I got one word for Shannon Sharpe.
Guilty! That nigga is guilty!
That nigga's guilty!
That nigga's guilty.
The problem with Shannon Sharpe is that he know better.
These chicks see a new way for a payday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a shakedown.
You got to remember, these young generation, these motherfuckers don't want to work for nothing. They figure, I'm going to get it the easy way. Selling vagina is the way it is. And these athletes doing it to themselves. So I'm not going to blame it all on her, because this whole, it ain't tricking if you got it era, it basically rooted this bullshit.
This is my thing is, if you're going to pay for pussy, you need to have it on your own terms. You tell her, come meet you at your hotel, where you at, not go where she at. And don't ever let her in before you get there, because all that shit can be a set up like Shannon got set up. Shannon said they asking for $50 million. Hey, crazy. You know where it is.
What the thing is, Shannon got comfortable. He obviously be dealing with this woman for a while. Obviously, to have the conversations that they had been having, you got to remember, dude, Shannon, you too old for this bullshit, bro. I ain't gonna lie, like, you too old for this bullshit. Unless you just that desperate, like, for, you know, the type of shit that she was doing. And, you know, because, you know, dudes, we get comfortable. We get comfortable, and we don't want to spread ourselves thin and just be smashing and dashing everything, because it's dangerous out here.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he got comfortable with her. You know what I'm saying? And too comfortable, and then realize that, hey, look, dude, she's still one of them. Regardless of what you think, she one of them. So don't be surprised when she come out to the bag.
That's a fucking payday. That's what that is. Go ahead.
Well, this is the same lawyer, Busby. He's the one that came after Jay-Z and lost. But he's relentless, obviously. He feels like, okay, well, if it ain't Jay-Z, it's going to be one of y'all. I'm going to get somebody.
I'm about to lynch one of you rich niggas. One of you rich niggas getting lynched.
One of y'all going to get it. And you know, it's hell on earth for black men as it is, especially if you're in the media like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's hell on earth for you right now. So I don't understand how these niggas ain't moving as safe as they should possibly be moving. Like, come on, bro. You know people after you right now. Like, come on, man. You got to be kidding me. Dude, you ain't, like, they went after Diddy. They went after Kels. You're not,
you know what they say,
bro?
You know what they say? We ain't them niggas. That's what niggas say.
Okay.
We ain't them niggas. We ain't like them. They not like us.
All that access to women, and you go to, did you see this broad?
Yeah. I went look this
No, I didn't see her. I didn't see her. Let me see her eat. Show it to her.
Pull a picture up.
Nigga.
Pull up, goddamn. They said she was on OnlyFans. I said OnlyFans.
She ain't even a baddie. She ain't even a baddie, bro.
But you know, Shannon Sharpe like them snow bunnies. You know, that's what he like. He like them.
That's her.
I'm not impressed.
Yeah, she's a typical Hispanic chick.
Typical, bro. Typical.
Yeah, she got that disease.
No ass at all.
No ass at all. No ass at all.
Zero sympathy for Shannon. You too old for this shit, dude.
The problem is he a rich nigga. That's the problem.
No, you too old and too rich for this shit.
Well, wait a second. So,
go ahead.
I mean, this goes back to the topic that we always kind of touch on. Is it still tricking if you got it? You know, does having more money than the average guy redefine what tricking is?
No, it's still fucking tricking. It's still fucking tricking. Shannon Sharpe was tricking, but you gotta, if you're gonna trick, you gotta trick on your terms, because you paying the money for the poo-tang. The poo-tang.
I think that that whole term, it ain't tricking if you got it. Started in what, the early 2000s, right? 2025. So around about
Millennials.
doing the math. How old is this young lady?
19 or 20.
Sounds
And
Yeah,
about right.
yeah.
Um,
And how old
you're
is Shannon?
now.
he was 54 when he
54?
started dating.
Oh yeah, he tricking. Yeah, he tricking.
Well, my whole thing. This is the point I'm trying to make with that. That term didn't age well. It didn't.
Mm-mm.
Think about it. It started in the early 2000s. We're in 2025, right? R. Kelly has gotten taken
Uh-uh.
down. Stop.
Ooh,
Let me finish.
God damn. Woo, that's tough. Go ahead.
R. Kelly has gotten. I'm just naming those who got taken down. I'm not naming their charges or nothing like that. Diddy got taken
God
down.
damn. God damn, Cutter. Go ahead.
Uh, Shannon Sharpe, he's getting taken down. Hold on.
God
Back up.
damn, Shannon.
Back
Woo.
up. Back up. Because I'm gonna do H Town's own. H Town fell. Deshaun Watson taken down.
God damn, Deshaun.
Uh,
God damn.
uh,
Massage holes.
well, here's the thing. It is tricking. And tricking didn't pay off. You got a woman who created a whole book, even in the early 2000s, because tricking wore off.
Mm.
You're dealing with the aftermath of a woman not getting what she wants from the relationship that she desired or you desired from her.
Superheads.
Mm.
So you're dealing with the same thing. It's nothing but a transition from the 2000s to 2020s. The same thing is happening. When women don't get what they want and they're in that lifestyle, meaning that they're selling themselves for a profit. Once they don't get the profit they desire and there is no negotiation, there are no contract signed, none of that stuff, no paperwork signed, and nothing like that.
Preach on, Cutter. Preach on.
They begin to feel used. They become the victims. I am now a victim because I didn't get what I desired from this relationship, whether it be for monetary, whatever. I didn't get what I desire, or a marriage. I didn't get what I desire from a relationship, so I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you to destroy you, and I'm gonna get my money in the process. So they might not be planning to destroy you completely, but the lawyers are because that's their job.
Message.
They go to the lawyers and they like, well, you know what? I just need this much money. No, we can get you 50 million.
Message.
What? I don't really need that. I don't care what you need. We gonna get you 50 million. Why? Because they get a portion of that 50
Mm.
million. What they do, they strategize. We gotta strategize. They're lawyers. This is what they do. We
They
gotta
speak legalese.
strategize to take this man down. Divorce lawyers do it. Fraternity lawyers do it. All the lawyers do it. They come after you with everything they got so they can get the most that they can from you because they know you're a millionaire. That's what happens. So what? It's a shakedown. Now, granted, Shannon is guilty. He's guilty, 100%, because you didn't recognize the system that was in place when before you was a Hall of Famer, dude. You too old for this shit.
They talked about this on Breakfast Club a little bit, and they were saying with him, he was on a lot of the interviews, he was discussing that he wouldn't do something like this. And what it made me think of was how we use, again, language to like create these constitutions of how we want to be seen to cover up how we actually acting. And that's what he did.
Predication.
And I think exactly. You creating this predication, this idea, this concept about what you're not doing. And then we're stuck with, kind of believing you until evidence proves otherwise. And that's what ended up happening. A lot of the superstars, they'll create these ideas, linguistic concepts about what they do, how they live. And you be like, damn, he got it going on. This motherfucker is great. He got everything on point, making the right decisions. And then all of a sudden, reality hit.
I knew that nigga was guilty when he jumped out that goddamn SUV with that goddamn tight ass sweatsuit on. That nigga's guilty. Guilty, nigga, guilty.
But you don't know until they start hitting them with with Shannon. You know, it's like, damn, I didn't think Shannon would do something like that. Why not? Because Shannon said he'll never do something like that. Of course,
Shannon, a grown man. Yeah,
we all say that. That's what it is. We just creating these delusions and trying to convince you that the shit is how we are living until
the narrative. We trying to control our narrative.
And I bet you that was on who was on that audio when it got leaked. When he was talking about, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby. I was like, this nigga sound like Professor Clump.
They said she got pissed. They said that she got pissed because he was messing around with some other chick that got leaked out on the video, and it wasn't her.
Hold on, but my thing is this: why did you think you was the only one? Like,
she believed.
Well, sir.
This is the problem. This is why I said, Shannon, and I'm gonna stick with my guns on this one. You too old for this shit, nigga.
Well, sir. Shannon told her that she was the only one. That's why she got pissed, because she believed the predication that Shannon was saying.
Bro, you got too much money to be lying. Nigga, take a page out of Neo's book. Be honest with who you are. That way you can live your life how you want to.
So, Cutter, speaking of that, I just saw a video of Neo talking about how he talked to his lady. He said, listen, if you want to be with me, these are the rules that are involved. If you want to be with me, I got this girl, I got this girl, I got this girl. But there's rules and regulations to be in a relationship with me. And if you want to follow by the rules and relationship, I'm going to take care of you. But if not, bye-bye.
Nigga, last time I checked, that's called a union.
Or a harem.
Neo said it was a business relationship.
Hey, look, whatever you want to call it, you got people over in Africa right now who are marrying overseas, meaning Americans, for business relationships. Meaning that, hey, look, I got the money. You got Arabians who are marrying Americans. You got Asians who are marrying. Everybody's marrying for whatever reasons. Business. Last I checked, we had a subject on this, right?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Marriage, considered marriage is ordained as a business.
Yes, contract.
Normal. It was a contract from the beginning, from the inception. It was already a contract. So what are we talking about? We put the
oldest time.
You know what? Let me shut up, bro, because that's we're gonna go into a whole nother conversation about that.
Well, I'm gonna say, like Cutter said on one of our last episodes, a woman without no instruction is headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. Yes.
Let me correct you. I said a hoe.
I know you said that. I know you said that.
Trying to be politically correct.
I was trying to be politically correct, sir.
No, because that's the problem. Hoes don't know they hoes.
Mm-hmm.
They speaking out of term. They acting out of term. A hoe with no instruction, they ain't got no good pimp. They ain't got no good guidance. They don't have no guidance. So you got a whole bunch of renegade hoes out here just linking up and doing whatever they doing. And Pimp C said it best.
The Dyson came through and straight threw off all the game. Got all these hoes thinking they can manage they on chain.
The dice came through and straight threw off all the game. Got some of these hoes thinking they can manage their own change. You can't do it. You don't know how. You don't know how. You don't have the education.
Real quick, let's clarify this. Are all women hoes?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's impossible. Just like you go back in the day when the soldiers used to come from the war, where did they go to brothels? Were their wives at the brothels? Were their wives at those brothels, or were they at home waiting on for them to come home after the war?
They was at home.
I think it's complicated because they did have.
It could be Richard Pryor had wrote a book about him being in the brothel. James Brown he was raised in brothels. You got brothels who these soldier boys was coming home. That's just one instance. because we can speak on a lot of other things, but we speaking on just one instance where these boys was coming off them boats and they was coming in to what? Have sex with who?
Mm-hmm.
Not wives,
Hoes.
hoes.
Like Ludacris said,
Hoes.
hoes in different area
Hold
codes.
on. And who was ahead of them hoes? 9 times out of 10, it was the
It's not
madam. But
matter.
who was ahead of the madam? It was the man that you really
It
never
all,
saw.
yeah.
You never
Well,
saw that man. But
well,
he had the madam, and it trickled down into, women who kept the other women in line, which was the madam.
that's a trickle
So
down theory of hoes. The
but
trickle
that's what
down
I'm
theory of
saying.
hoes.
It's
Trickle
a
down.
it's a theory. It ain't no theory. It's facts. It's been going on since the beginning of whatever. They figured out a way to maintain women who sold their bodies for sex.
But the coldest thing
The
is,
problem. Hold on, Orlando.
go ahead, go ahead.
The problem is that's why I say you have renegades. Renegades, if you understand that game and that the street culture of pimping and hoeing, renegades are women who just go on their own and do what they want to do. Well, they have the problems that they have because of the simple fact they don't have guidance. They don't have instruction. They don't have any mentorship from anybody. They just out in the streets doing what they want to do and just freelancing and then wondering why, oh my God, then now they trying to play the victim. This is the culture that we're living in right now. You got
Well,
a
Cutter,
whole
I'm gonna
bunch
ask
of
you a question,
renegade
Cutter.
bitches. Hold on, let me finish, bro.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
a whole bunch of renegade bitches out here in the streets. They call themselves hoes, but they don't want to be called hoes or references hoes, but they selling pussy for a living. Like you don't make that don't make sense to me. It don't make sense
So,
because that's why I said you have a bunch of renegade chicks with no instruction. So it's no coincidence as to why it's chaos in the streets. It's chaos. That's what it developed to because there's no organization at all.
Cutter, I got a question for you. So, are these renegade hoes basing all their decisions on emotions or business decisions?
It's a combination of emotion and impulse.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
going off of what they know. And if you're not educated, what happens?
You're taking advantage of.
You taking advantage
Exactly.
of.
So when you get taken advantage of, you don't know any other way of handling things. All you know is I want my money. I want to get paid. I want to get compensated. I want to do, and you got a lawyer that's putting in your head that you know what you deserve more.
Well,
You a
he pimping her
you're a
too.
victim. You've
That's
been
what
He
I
pimping
was
hold
her.
gonna
on,
say.
hold
I
on.
was gonna.
He
You've
pimping
been
her.
hold on. You've been trafficked. You
Hmm.
understand the seriousness of that charge. This man deserves to go to prison, and you can get some money. So you got a vindictive bitch over here, a vindictive hoe out of line, who's a renegade, who's getting taught by a lawyer who's money hungry, and you coming into this whole, you trying to say that okay, all this shit makes sense. Of course he gonna fight back because he already know, bitch, you was a hoe in the first place. I don't even know why. That's why I say Shannon is guilty because you fell in love with a
Hmm.
bitch. You
Ooh, he
fell in
started
love
with
with
a
a
hoe.
hoe.
Hmm. That's
Ain't
so.
no way you should have had that hoe close to you like that, sending her text messages and having conversations longer than 5 minutes. Nigga, you supposed to be like, look, meet me here. I'm gonna be here. Woo, woo, woo. That's it. Give me your phone. We're gonna put it in the safe. I don't trust you.
Hmm.
Or put your people in charge of her to say, hey, look, you coming in this room. Hey, we need your phone. We need you to sign this non-disclosure. We need, woo, 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 before you even come in this room. How in the hell you ain't got that at your status, bro? You on ESPN. Shut the hell up. You deserve everything you going through, nigga.
Cause his
It's so
fault.
bad. You guilty. You guilty, nigga. So, but because you and your ego, hey, look, you might get out of this with a clean slate. You might have to give her a couple of little, a little bag.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, bro, you supposed to be smarter than this, bro. You supposed to be
He
smarter
should.
than that. You
He
know what
should
I'm
learn from them other
saying?
niggas'
Come
downfalls.
on,
Yep.
bro. You a Hall of Famer, bro. You're a Hall of Famer, bro. You supposed to be going through this in your rookie year. You don't have no sympathy from me. You're a sucker, nigga. You
Well,
deserve everything you going through.
Jesus almost fell into that same thing we talking to that hoe at the well. He wrote some shit to say and said, y'all was
How
fucking with
many,
this hoe too.
how many songs about Jezebels do we know of today?
A
Come
bunch
on,
of
man.
them.
Like, come on, bro. We not fit to play with this topic, bro. Like, you niggas be trying. Like, it's a difference between real women, and I don't even like that term, real. I don't even like using that term, but it's a term between
Authentic women. As I say,
bitches
authentic women.
who really want to be wives and support systems for their man,
Yeah.
and it's another term for hoes, nigga.
And gold
Bitches,
diggers.
women who just want to be that's going to be fucked on for the majority of their adult life, and they gonna regret that shit later on, and they probably gonna turn to Jesus, or they gonna get a dog and a cat, or a couple of cats, and then they gonna whatever be Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever, because they tired of getting fucked on and forgotten about. That's just the way
And
the game go,
parents.
bro.
Yeah, yeah,
That's just the
yeah,
game
yeah,
go.
yeah.
That's where the game go, bro. You get mad at it. I don't care. It is what it is, bro.
So E, let's change subjects to that damn video I sent you so we can have a conversation about that. Cutter, when you hear this shit, you're gonna bust out laughing.
Gender
The
identity fraud.
identity fraud.
Now threatens to charge transgender people with, quote,
Texas, I'm
gender
sorry.
identity fraud. If passed, it would become a felony to identify as a gender opposite to what a person was assigned at birth. The bill was filed last week by Republican State Representative Tom Olverson, who represents the Cypress area. State jail felonies are punishable by up to 2 years in jail and a fine of up to $10,000. Trans rights advocates are calling this bill alarming.
They some cold niggas in Texas. Yep.
I'm gonna let y'all speak first on this one, and I'm gonna wait because I've been talking a lot. So go ahead.
What you talking about?
No, Cutter, you on fire right there. Go ahead and talk about it. We gonna let you go first. Go ahead.
I'm gonna piggyback on whatever you come up with, so it don't matter.
Yeah, we ready. We ready.
No, you know what? We gonna do something different. We gonna let E go first. E like
Go
to
ahead, E.
go
Go first.
last. We gonna
Go
let
ahead,
E
E.
go first.
Let's see, gender identity fraud. See, this is what's crazy because based on society, you're supposed to say, oh no, that's not right. It's supposed to be, civil protections and all of that. And, the trans community, they tried to use the civil rights that Negroes established as their basis for protection. And we're not supposed to say what most Black people feel, which is they do not agree with trans identity beliefs. But everybody try to act like that they do because they don't want to be labeled
homophobe.
Homophobe, everything in the book. Basically, you don't want to be demonized by society. So the reality is they are committing fraud. I mean, honestly, if you want to stick to the facts, yes, because they're trying to
deceive you.
Well, first they're trying to appropriate the characteristics, the appearances, the behaviors of a particular group of people. We talked about this because you got trans men and you got trans women.
Yeah.
But the whole point is they want to be included in the what you would call biological basis. Fraternity of what we call women or adult human females and adult human males. And you got these people that were born biologically in one of the fraternity groups. They don't want to be committed to that particular group because they say that they are feeling some sort of commonality with the other group based on the stereotypes, the actions, the behaviors of that particular group. The question is, should they be included in that particular group based on how they feel rather than how they are formed compositionally?
So my answer is hell no, because you can have a surgery, you can have all that things, but at the end of the day, you should be honest with a person, tell them what you was born as so they can make their own decision if they want to fuck with you or not. But what they're doing is they're hiding who they were born as and they deceiving a person saying, hey, I'm a woman now because you had all these surgeries or whatever. You got all the box, you got the juice box, you got the titties, you got all that. And right now it's kind of hard to determine who you really are. So that's why it's fraud. So you should go to jail for that shit.
So should they be sent to jail or brought up on criminal charges for deceiving or attempting to deceive?
Okay, check this out. So if you take my identity, you take my social security number, and you get a credit card in my name, and you charge that motherfucker up to the max, what they call that?
Identity theft.
Yep, that's exactly what they're doing. They're taking their identity and they're changing who they are. And you meet a man in the club who been drinking or smoking or whatever they're doing, and you are appearing to be something that you're not. And then if I get you at my house and I put my hand between your legs and you got the same thing I got, you're going to get your ass whooped.
So remember this whole thing. And the reason why we're touching on this, everyone, is because the trans community tries to avoid this conversation because it reveals what the fundamental concept of the belief is. And it is a belief. By no means is it fact. It's a belief. So they're trying to redefine what woman and man is, also what an adult human female is, also what an adult human male is. And they're trying to say, hey, these things are on a spectrum. So if you make these things on a spectrum, then you're able to kind of veer to the left or right of the spectrum closer to what you identify as based on what you are able to surgically enhance or remove about yourself. So if I say, hey, what is a man? Well, we'll say a man is social construct. This is the trick. What is a male? And then we'll say male is what? They want to box you in because you're going to say, well, male is a human adult male, has penis, scrotum, can produce semen, has the capacities to do these things within, have a certain level of testosterone. And of course, you got the genes of being having XY chromosomes. And all of these anatomical aspects of you is what makes you a man. Okay.
Gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha, bitch. Because now, by putting yourself in a box, now we can say, so if I get some of those things, will that push me closer to being a man or within the manhood? And that's the catch. If they start getting the stuff that you say what makes a man, or a male, then technically that should be accepted in the fraternity. If they get a penis, if they get a scrotum, if they get a certain amount of testosterone, and vice versa with the aspects and characteristics of an adult human female. If they get those characteristics, should they be included in the group that they identify as being a part of based on how they initially feel about that particular group? Cuddle, what you got? I know you're ready.
That's like saying that bunny lays eggs.
It's gonna be simple for me, y'all. Anything that you are, you are. This is last I checked. Concrete reality TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were born a male, you're male. I don't think you could chop your titties, chop your penis off, shave your chest hairs, take pills
Increase
or
your estrogen.
medications to increase your estrogen and limit the testosterone you get, which are new. By the way, I have to mention that has all this medication is new. So a lot of these children that are getting these pills, and even the adults, they're getting these pills. They're basically guinea pigs for medication because they don't know how this stuff is going to affect them long term. Because there has been no long term effects. It haven't been 20 years, 30 years. You know, you don't know how this is going to affect you health wise, whatever. All I can say is this: the bill that passed was what about what? Again?
Gender identity fraud.
Fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Fraud. I like that word. What does that word mean? Because we stickler for words. I like for E to pull up that word so we can.
Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
called
He put it up.
fraud. Gender identity fraud.
Fraud involves deceptive practices or misrepresentations intended to gain an unfair advantage or benefit, often financially.
Stop. We don't need no more. Fraud is attempting to deceive me to believe that you're something you're not.
Damn.
So I'm all for this bill.
Me too. Me too. The state of Texas is beautiful.
Because of the simple fact, and I'm gonna, do my H-Town brim thing. Uh, Fraud is fraud. Whether or not I'm deceiving a woman to believe that I'm a banker when I'm not, or believe how dudes used to do it back in the day in the club. If you was kind of stocky with a stocky bill, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I play for the Texans." You know what I mean? I'm on the practice squad right now, but I'm about to start. And you trying to deceive a woman, but you don't see no parts in the football field, and you know that. You know what I'm saying? But you trying to convince her that you just to get her attention. You know what I mean? Because of how she looks, and you think she may be a gold digger in some sorts. Or if you say, well, I'm a rapper and I'm about to be successful, or this and that. It don't matter. At the end of the day, if you present yourself as something that you're not, it's fraudulent. I don't know how this word came up missing in the last 10 years. The definition of fraudulent or fraud came up missing, but it did. It did. And we somehow allowed it to be depleted from the dictionary and from our understanding of what fraudulent is. But last time I checked, fraud is fraud. If you're not that
Well,
person or that individual, or you don't do what that definition says you do, job title, sexual identity, it doesn't matter. Human identity, it don't matter. If you're a fraud, that means you're not authentically that, what you represent.
You got what you call phenomenal.
oh, here we go. Preacher.
So you got phenomenal. Phenomenal means
Explain.
the actual physical thing that's happening,
Trace.
it's tangible. So you can directly observe it. Then you got nominal. Nominal means name only. It's like having a paper champion. You're a champion because you call yourself a champion versus someone that's done something to achieve a championship in an actual measurable sense. Versus
They ain't gonna like this. They ain't gonna like this at all.
You talking about like James Buster Douglas? Like,
well, I mean, because he did. We can't hate on Buster Douglas because he did.
I can hate on Buster. No, he got a rusty, dusty Tyson that thought he could just. But I believe James Buster Douglas was on steroids that night, and he was able to get up and because it was a 13 count. And that fight was rigged because he got a champion. Look, a champion. Last time I checked, remains a champion. He fought Evander Holyfield and got his ass whooped. Like he was supposed to. Like he was supposed to against Tyson because he was.
He was on the transgender medication. He was on the transgender medication.
He was a buster to begin with. That's why his name is Buster.
Hey,
take the ER off and put an A. That nigga's a buster.
They ain't gonna like this. They ain't gonna like this at all.
Well, wait a minute, because remember, whenever you talk about sports, it's subjective, and you got to follow that rabbit hole all the way down. So if you're saying that a champion is not a champion based on moving the goalpost, then we're going to deal with what y'all got on, which is the Houston Rockets. And we got them for a long time. They said Houston Rockets are nominally, that means paper champions, because we never beat the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. How do you?
Well, we beat them a lot in the regular season. It ain't my fault that Michael. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that Michael wanted to retire. He should stop gambling. We should stop gambling.
Argue it don't matter if you didn't beat the champ, and that's what they keep going back to every time we talk about the Rockets championships. We didn't.
Well, somebody else beat them.
One thing.
Orlando beat them.
About that. I got one thing to say about that. When we went to the Olympics, and I think it was 94, 95, and Roy Jones fought that Chinaman, He actually fought the Chinaman, and they took the fight from Roy Jones. It was a controversial decision. It was obvious Roy Jones fought the fight, and he beat the shit out of the Chinaman. He just couldn't. He didn't knock him out because in the Olympics, you don't. It's not like you get knockouts like that. Especially in, I think Roy Jones was a lightweight or middleweight at that time. You don't knock people out like that. He just beat the shit out of him, obviously. But he fought. He fought the Chinaman. He didn't get the decision. It was controversial. It was what it was. Even the Chinaman raised his hands when the fight was over with. He knew that Roy won, and Roy even said that when he went to the dressing room, he just wanted to ask Chinaman, "Did you feel like you beat me?" And the Chinaman said no. End of story. Rockets, Bulls. We never fucking played the Bulls in the finals because the Bulls didn't make it to the fucking finals.
Because it also don't let them magic.
Hold on. They don't belong in the finals. They didn't make it to the finals. Even when they went to second year and they talk about, well, Jordan wasn't the same Jordan. No, he came back and he beat Orlando, but they end up getting knocked out. But Jordan was back because he wore the 23. People forget this. They don't want to say this story. They don't want to tell this story. He wore the 23 instead of the 45 and got fined for that shit. And ended up scoring like 40-some points, and they won. But they could not beat them little niggas. Them niggas was young and hungry. They could not handle them because they didn't have what it took. They didn't have no Rodman. They didn't have Horace Grant. They ain't had none of them motherfuckers. Even if they made it to the Rockets, they would have got swept just like Orlando did because they couldn't handle the Rockets. So
we swept their ass.
I don't want to hear about this goddamn what could have been, would have been, all that shit. Because first of all, even in the year before, y'all didn't have nobody for a king. Y'all would have got swept in. We probably would have won. Y'all probably would have won 2, if that. Would have give y'all 2. But at the end of the day, y'all didn't have nothing for that big ass African.
And Jordan said we would have had nothing for Hakeem. He just scored 50 on us.
And then Robert Horry said the same thing. Phil Jackson didn't believe in double teaming. Hakeem would have scored 50 a night. And if you want to double it, okay, we gonna do the same thing we did to everybody else. Look, you wasn't fucking with the Houston Rockets. It's just what it was. Rudy Tomjanovich had the perfect defense and offense to win those 2 series, and we got our 2 rings. It just was what it was.
I'm sorry that we merged away from the initial topic of gender identity fraud.
Well, it's the same thing. It's fraud. It's fraud. All the end of the day, it's still fraud.
Yes, it led into, conversation about sports, but hey, be sure to drop your comments on these topics. We're curious to see what you think. There's a lot of stuff going on. So, drop it in there. And as always, like, subscribe, share, put your alerts on. If you want more content from Concrete Reality TV, we need your support. So be sure to support us. Peace.
Pay my outro music, goddammit.
As you can see, I was raised in the streets. I ain't got a whole lot of partners with me. 'Cause I know them boys don't want no
Concrete reality.